This is Julie Hogue with Vegetarians and Meat Lovers Split Table Recipes Podcast, where I podcast about food and how in the world do we cook for two diets within one meal. My family is like this. It's a split table. I'm a vegetarian. My family eats meat. I know there are so many families out there, groups of people that need to feed more than one diet. And a vegetarian and meat in the same meal is one of the highest challenges. They're all a challenge, right? But this is a tough one because meat is so integral to so many dishes and in many people's minds. So I've had to cook this way. And I have a really tasty recipe that I modified into what I call a hybrid recipe, a split table recipe. Same thing. It's a phrase that I coined, a hybrid recipe, meaning it works for two diets. Like my cookbook, one dish, two diets. And it's all about how do you cook for a vegetarians, and meat lovers, meat eaters. So this one is a breakfast casserole, but in truth, we have it for dinner. We're one of those people that do breakfast for dinner all the time, and it's such a great option. And this one is just fantastic. One of the things I really love about this recipe is you make it and then you let it sit. Now, and it is very, very flexible. You can let it sit for a half hour or up to like overnight. Like it can just sit there overnight. And in fact, that is something that makes it better. So if you let it sit for a long time, that makes it better. I've done it as short as a half hour though. And you can use brioche bread or white bread. And I've used a brioche. It does give a little bit of richer flavor. And then I've used the white cottage bread. If you've ever seen that, that was really good too. And there's a little bit different consistency between them as well. So play with that and you can use whichever one you want. White bread is the thing. You need, okay, let's get into this. How many slices do you need? You're going to take most of the loaf, unless it's a big giant loaf. You're going to need 12 slices of white bread, 8 ounces of deli ham, 8 ounces of deli turkey, 8 ounces of Swiss cheese, and then I use about 3 slices of provolone, and also 3/4 cup of shredded cheese. Now you can use cheddar cheese or Monterery and cheddar blend, or I've even done the Mexican blend style cheese, which is Monterery Jack, medium cheddar, Queso Quesadilla, and Asadero cheese. I know I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. I don't know how you say that one. I should have looked it up online, but I did not take the time to do that. But you can use just plain cheddar cheese if you want to. I like the cheddar Monterery Jack blend. So you need 3/4 cup of that. And then you need 6 eggs, 2 cups milk, 2 tablespoons Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon cayenne pepper, and 2 tablespoons melted butter, powdered sugar. I know, it sounds odd. And raspberry jam. Now this is called, again, Monte Cristo breakfast casserole. I think I said that, didn't I? I'm like thinking back, did I say that? I don't know. Anyway, it's super easy, right? Like this is an easy one to compile. There literally is no chopping. Like what a weird recipe, right? There's no chopping. And it's just so easy. And you can prepare it way ahead of time. Oh, and I do say that very fast. So do not worry because I put the ingredients down in the podcast show notes. I recently was listening to myself and I lost my recipe. So I had to listen to my own podcast to find out how to make it. And I talk fast, like I couldn't write it down fast enough. I had to keep pausing it, which is another reason why it should be down in the podcast show notes so that you can easily access it. And you don't have to be sitting there trying to scramble writing stuff down as I talk and pausing it. No. We're not going to do that silly business. Look down in the podcast show notes and you will find the recipe. Easy access in the future as well. Okay, so how are you going to do this? So your dish has been prepared. You're letting it sat for as long as you want it to. You preheat your oven to 350. You're going to grease that baking dish. Oh, and another ingredient is the coconut oil. I coat about 1/2 tablespoon of coconut oil to grease the 9 by 13 inch pan. So that one should be added to the ingredients. And so you're going to grease that pan and you're going to layer the 6 slices of bread on the bottom, and they're going to be overlapping. They're not going to lay flat, and that's okay. They can overlap. That's totally fine. And that's not a big deal. And then you will add half the meats and cheese. And I use one thing I should add about the cheese, I use the deli slices of Swiss and provolone, and then the shredded for the other cheese. And then you're going to repeat the layers. So you're going to start with your bread again and do your meats and your cheeses, or, cheese and meat, whatever order. It doesn't really matter. Just get all the layers in there twice. And then you're going to whisk your eggs together with the milk, mustard, and seasonings. And you're going to pour that over the layers. Now, I try to get the bread edges wet. And then also you're going to drizzle melted butter across. And I try to do that kind of all over, and I try to get the edges. So make it go as far as you can. Then this is where you have it rest. Oh, I screwed that up, didn't I? I was saying it was rested in the beginning. Well, you do, but it's been rested. So think of it this way. I'm not going to modify that. It's rested, right? Like you made it, it's rested half hour or overnight, as many hours as you want. Now you're ready to cook it, right? So obviously you make it, let it sit, bake it. That's how it goes. And so then you're going to bake it for 30 minutes covered. And I spray the tin foil with cooking spray too, just so I can maybe not have the cheese stick too much to the tin foil when I take it off. And then you bake it on cover for about 20 minutes, usually around 20 minutes. Every oven's going to be a little bit different, but just, when the cheese looks golden and it seems done, it might be bubbling a little bit. Just make sure you don't burn the cheese, right? Golden is okay. And then you dust it with powdered sugar and the raspberry jam or preserves and serve. It's a weird thing. Like, you really wouldn't think of putting like mustard with raspberry jelly. Like, that's an odd combo, right? I've never really had a Monte Cristo sandwich, so I'm wondering it must be similar to this. I don't know where the sweetness part comes in, but also in the sugar. I mean, if you really want to cut out the sugar, you can. I think the raspberry jam gives enough sweetness, but we do use the powdered sugar. I leave a little bit just because, I don't know, it's in the recipe and it tastes good, so why not? And we like to have it with some sort of potatoes on the side. Potatoes O'Brien that are seasoned, like you can buy those frozen packs, already pre-seasoned, or any kind of potato, hash brown kind of thing. And I think that really adds to it. So it's a great side dish to have with it. This is so easy to make. I mean, seriously. And if you're going to make like multiple pans, you could make one vegetarian, one meatless. And what I totally love about this is, like, say you're having guests in the morning, or you're having some people sleep at your house guests, you can like prep this the night before and let it sit in your fridge. And in the morning, you don't have to be rushing around making something. You can sit around and have coffee, and all you have to do is slide those pans in the oven. And that is so nice. You can sit there and have your coffee and chat with your guests, and you have a meal already ready. And all you have to do is bake it. Like, that's so nice. I love that. And I love how it's so easy. And this is a really easy one to make a hybrid recipe out of, hybrid meal, because you just control where you put your sandwich meat. And the great thing about this is there's literally not going to be meat drift because there aren't pieces of meat. So this is really, really ideal for a hybrid recipe. One of the things I talk about and the tricks you can do is to use big pieces of meat on one side of a dish and not on the other if you're trying to do it in the same pan. So you don't get that meat drift, little pieces. And if it's too liquidy, it can float over there. You can get the dreaded meat drift. But with sandwich meat, they're kind of like, they're like kind of attached to each other. They stick together, and they'll just like lay there on the bread and the cheese, and they're not going to go anywhere. And one thing I do also is I do sprinkle the shredded cheese over it. And usually I do that before the provolone. I think I didn't mention that. So I sprinkle the cheese and then do the provolone on top. And I do it heavier with cheese on the meatless side. And then I lay 2 provolone slices on the vegetarian side. And then I break up the last provolone piece and spread that across the 4. It ends up being like 6 slices. So it's like across the remaining 4 slices of bread that have the meat with them. And that's because they're already really tall. So I don't use a lot more cheese. I don't use a lot more provolone because that side is taller. So like that's another way you can easily tell which side has the meat. It's going to be a little bit taller, and the meatless side will be a little bit lower because it doesn't have all of that sandwich meat there. It's really a good recipe. It's good. It's good leftover as well. So if you want to heat it up and have it the next day or later in the day, it's a good one. Well, that's how you make it. And I will again put that down in the podcast show notes so that you can get it. And it's just, I don't know. I suggest it. It's a good one. It's a great way to feed two diets. And it's so simple. This is one of the most simple recipes I've seen for an egg bake. And there's no chopping, right? Like there's no chopping. That is kind of like shocking in and of itself. So it's a really quick prep. It's not a lot of monkeying around, and it's just really nice. But so it's good. And things have been going crazy at our house. We're getting ready for the wedding coming up. My son is getting married, which is just wild to me. And he's gonna be getting done with college and getting married all in one summer. That's crazy, right? It's so busy. It's so busy. And we're just, so many things are going to be going on, and I'm looking forward to summer. We have a swimming pool, and my husband is talking about opening it up. It's so cold though still in Minnesota. Usually we do open it the first part of May, but right now it's just feeling awfully cold, and I'm like, maybe we need to wait a little bit this year. We have a heater for it, but it is extraordinarily expensive to heat it when it's cool out. So it's another reason to wait a little bit, is because it is ridiculously expensive to heat it. And when it gets really cold at night, you don't want it to drop too much in the pool temp. I mean, you can keep having it go up and down, just like a furnace. You can manually turn it down during the night and turn it back up during the day. Or if you're not going to swim, just kind of keep it at the more lower levels. We do that a lot too. If we know we're not going to swim for several days, or we get a cold snap, we can like turn it back down. But I'm excited for summer. I'm excited for so many things going on. It's going to be really busy, and looking forward to it though. My youngest is going to get a job, and my middle is going to get a job. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be an interesting summer with all the stuff going on, the wedding and just normal summer stuff, right? Like summer is a busy time, and especially in Minnesota, because so many people, where it's cold, any kind of cold temperature climate area, it's like we try to cram so much into summer. And I know other people do that too, but even more so we do, because it's actually nice here and it's warm. A good chunk of the year it's not. It's, wintry and cold, and we don't spend as much time outside. So we really try to cram everything in as much as we can. Well, thanks for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it. And you can find a whole bunch of different recipes on my podcast. Also in my cookbook, I also have a Midwest Cooking Quiches cookbook that does have some hybrid recipes in that as well. And there's a whole ton of them on the podcast, so you can easily scroll through all those and find those. And someday I'll probably make another cookbook of recipes that are on the podcast. And then you can get like pictures and stuff. I think I really like when I'm cooking something and I have a picture. I don't know about you, but I do like to have a book, and, you can open the book, lay it on your counter as you're making stuff. I have recipes on my phone, but then my phone always turns off, and I have to turn it back on. And then I'm like, wait, I wanted to look at that. And I get annoyed. So a cookbook is really nice for that, because it's just there. You can just leave it open. There's no like struggling to try and keep it open, keep your phone open, keep your phone on. And I like to see the pictures too, because I don't know, it's kind of an experience to cook, I think. And, that just for me, to see the images does add to the experience of cooking and thinking about eating it, and just looking at it, and especially if you've never made it before or tasted it before, it's really great to see that picture. You don't know how it's going to turn out. What's it going to look like? Is mine going to look like this picture? All that kind of stuff. because we try really hard to get great pictures of the food, right? And it doesn't really matter what it looks like, but it does impact it does impact us. It's kind of like how you're not supposed to judge a book by a cover, but we all pick our books based on covers. And the same thing goes for food. If it doesn't look attractive or appealing, we less likely want to eat it, right? Unless we're really starving, then we might eat it. But the way it looks does impact the experience for us and the enjoyment of it. Well, you have an amazing day. And I'm excited that you're here. And I'm excited you listen to my podcast. Like it, share it, come back again, check out the other recipes. More to come. Thanks and have an amazing day. Bye-bye now.